Episode 8, Rye Guy, Dances with Wolff. This is all kind of the tension and the rumor mill around who would be Lewis Hamilton's teammate this season now that we're running.
Yes, the worst kept secret in F1 history.
Right. So one of the first things that happens in the episode that was ridiculous, Ryan, where George Russell is showing a picture of some knockoff thong with his face all over it.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, the team already took this down, but I ordered one for my girlfriend. He's out there buying knockoff illegal gear and for his girlfriend.
What did you make of George? Like, no one paraded their girlfriend more on Drive to Survive than him.
Yeah, he was definitely giving her a lot of shine.
They scheduled a sit-down dinner between them two.
Yeah.
Having like an intimate conversation. What, like, do you think that was his idea?
And then walking around London or wherever they were, right?
Do you think that was his idea? Do you think that was his agent's idea, his publicist's idea?
I think it was him. I think he's already trying to lay the tracks for him going to Mercedes and like raising his profile in the media. Because you saw it when he first appeared in Drive to Survive this season, where he had the clapboard.
Yeah.
And before the interview, he was like, hey, am I going to actually make it in this season? You know?
Right.
So
that's right,
I think he was probably trying to manufacture any chance to get himself on the show.
Right. Another thing I realized in this episode is I can't listen to George talk for too long because his voice starts to annoy me.
Why? Just too soft-spoken?
It's just, he kind of sounds like Kermit the Frog or something. It's like,
yeah,
I don't know.
I get, there's definitely some vibes there. Some Kermit vibes.
He's got a different voice and it starts to annoy me.
The other takeaway I had, Ryan, because they were then following him, as I mentioned, around London with his girlfriend, like, you can see why celebrity will make you a shut-in. Like, he was starting to get more and more recognized, obviously. You can't just go walk around a city and have a good time because you just have every Yahoo bro dog yelling for your picture. And remember, he's like, do you want her to take it? And he's like, no. They just take selfies. Like, you can't just go have a stroll, you know? You can see why.
George was loving every second of it.
Oh, for sure. But you can see at some point it'll reach a saturation point of, I only am going to go to like private restaurants or places where I won't get bothered. I can't just go, you know? Imagine Lewis Hamilton. That's why you never see him or a lot of these guys out there.
Yeah.
You couldn't function in society anymore with that celebrity.
Yeah, Lewis can't do anything, dude. He can't do anything without losing his privacy. Let's go back to Botas real quick because this is what they opened the episode with. I was laughing so hard when it's just Botas and his trainer or whatever that guy is. Mm-hmm. And they're just like exchanging cliches. And where Botas is like, the hungriest dog, always gets the bone. Or what?
They just are all motivational cliches.
They literally traded like 8 or 9 cliches in that conversation. They didn't say anything real. They were just swapping cliches.
The other takeaway I had is obviously the hysterical neck workouts everyone does, and you know, the weighted steering wheel stuff or using the plate like a steering wheel. Botas, though, his workout is like a normal workout. He's doing squats. Like he was just doing squats the whole time during the episode.
Squats and coffee. Squats and espresso.
Squats and espresso. Like, it doesn't seem that there's that much functionality. I understand you work the pedals and you have, you know, some force to put the pedals down, but I don't think squats are necessarily the best workout for a racing car driver.
Yeah. Well, yeah, who knows?
So, again, Ryan, Gunther pops in, busting balls during this episode.
Calling Crofty a fucking ball breaker, I think is what he said.
He's just ripping into Crofty, and Crofty's firing back at him. And, so Gunther there's always a Gunther cameo in every episode.
Yeah. I enjoyed revisiting the Botas-Russell wreck because it was such a ridiculous wreck.
And you could feel way more of that tension, and I was just imagining like George Russell's heartbeat during that pass. Like he's in his head too. He's thinking, because all the rumors have been swirling at that point that he's going to move up to Mercedes.
Yeah,
he sees Botas suddenly that he's racing in his Williams, you know, and he's imagine thinking, that pressure and that excitement. And of course he was going to go for it. That would have been like a seminal moment for him, right? If he makes a clean pass on Bottas's Mercedes in a Williams.
Yeah. What's funny though is, you know, in George's mind, before he made that move, he was thinking he would impress Toto.
Right.
with a move like that.
Right.
The reality is it pissed Toto off so much.
Yeah.
Because he's taking Constructors' Championship points off the table for Mercedes.
Yeah, I think that was...
Don't you remember Toto's quote after the race?
Yeah.
He said George Russell had no business trying to overtake a Mercedes there.
Oh, for sure. And the episode definitely beat the drum hard about Botas is old, reliable, and he's an epic teammate because he's happy to, bend himself over for the team. And that's where Toto want a kid like George Russell who is a loose cannon based on that move,
Now they need a guy like George Russell more than ever.
Exactly.
Christian Horner, right? We always talk about how he's the greatest shit stirrer in the paddock. So do you remember after the Botas Russell wreck where Christian Horner sees George in the paddock after the race and he pats him on the shoulder and goes, "Good job."
Yeah. Yeah.
That's basically Christian's way of saying thank you for taking out one of our biggest opponents.
Yeah, the last 2 episodes really highlight that Christian Horner, he was playing chess mind games all last season,
Always. He's always gaming someone.
Yeah, he loves that tension. He loves creating tension.
Yeah, he's comfortable in the tension.
He's comfortable in the tornado, for sure. He's in the eye of the hurricane. He loves it.
I mean, just think back to it was either season 1 or 2 of Drive to Survive. Remember the shit talking him and Cyril Abitable would get into?
Oh, yeah.
I
was uncomfortable on my couch. Remember how uncomfortable you would be?
It was so uncomfortable. And Christian Horner's like a pig in shit when it comes to that. He just wants to roll around in it.
Oh, he's definitely the guy you want to punch in the face in those moments if you're on the other side of it. Because, Toto wanted to crack him in the nose so badly.
100%.
So this episode, Ryan, will also remind you, like we've said, we are big fans of Botas now at Alfa Romeo because the guy is footloose and fancy free. He's taken it to Mercedes, and he's the alpha in the Alfa Romeo team when he was Beta Botas at Mercedes. And again, he does that same stuff in this episode, talking tough, like, I'm not going to bend over anymore. I'm going for race wins. I want to win a championship. And then he immediately lays down for the team,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if he's if that's always been a show for the fans or just the public eye, or if he truly knows it, or if he's like a perception is reality type of guy, where if he just keeps telling himself something that makes it true in his mind, even though the reality is not the same.
Yeah. The other thing I liked, Ryan, in this episode, it was when they were talking about the whole, do we continue with Valtteri? Does Toto want to continue with Valtteri? Does he want the known commodity of Valtteri Bottas? And Toto, talking about Valtteri, says, quote, "He looks like a Mercedes driver." And I'm just thinking, like, he's like the Aryan Mercedes driver. Is that what Toto's looking for? Like, he can't put in the tall, dark-haired English guy.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was an interesting... That's like one of the few nice things he could think of Botas. He looks like a Mercedes driver.
He said he behaves like a Mercedes driver, I thought.
I in my quote, I said looks.
Oh,
I think he even said looks like a Mercedes driver.
I wrote he behaves like a Mercedes driver.
I think he said both. He might have said he looks like one and he behaves like one. But he definitely said looks because I put the quote in. I'll have to check if I'm wrong. People can fact check me. So the other thing I like, talk about stirring the pot, Ryan. Formula One loves stirring the pot last year especially, where in all the pressers, they were constantly putting Botas and Russell together when the rumors... Remember, the media outlets were starting to run with George Russell is going to be announced at Silverstone. And so Formula One puts them together in the presser. Later in Drive to Survive, they show when Christian and Toto get put together. Like, it's what sports do when they have the chance. Like, golf loves doing this, where they'll pair guys who hate each other or guys who all went to the same college.
That's PR 101. Right
exactly. There. And the drivers and the principals will complain, but that's part of the show.
So I always turn on full-time subtitles when I watch Drive to Survive because there are a bunch of nuggets you won't pick up on if you don't have them on. So did you notice that the press conferences you were just referencing, okay? The one that they scheduled both George and Valtteri to be in together later in the season after the wreck. Valtteri and his PR guy showed up late on purpose to make George wait.
Yeah.
And George whispered to his guy as he's waiting, he said, they're motherfuckers.
Yeah.
So like the tension was just brewing heading into that press conference.
Oh, yeah. They had to let the little kid sit in his high chair and wait for him.
Yeah. I want to go back to the team order stuff, right? So you mentioned, we had Toto and James Voles is his name.
Mm-hmm.
They were discussing, team orders for Valtteri and like how they have to handle it with kid gloves and all this stuff. I wrote down a note. Valtteri is the only guy Lewis Hamilton can't pass, apparently, on track. Because anytime they are trying to manufacture a team order swap of drivers, you get that radio where it's Hamilton saying, like, I can't get around Valtteri. He's holding me up.
Well, that's him.
This is a guy who we've watched overtake every fucking driver ever.
No, that was him. And we talked about
Botas is the only guy that he can't get around, apparently.
No, it's...
Unless they move him out of the way.
It's him, tell me without telling me. It's him.
I know,
yeah,
but it's just funny to think about it that way.
He's almost a lap down, and he'll get on there and say, hey, man, I'm stuck in Valtteri's dirty air.
Yeah, that's what's funny to me.
I can't follow him closely. He's just saying that because he doesn't want to have to fight
are the signals.
even for a
I
lap
get it.
or two.
Those are the signals for the garage to start talking about, hey, get Valtteri out of the way. But it's just funny to me.
Right. Any other notes you had? I just have one final note when the episode ends with Toto obviously confirming to George that he's going to be the Mercedes driver.
Yeah, I have a couple of funny notes. So Valtteri just accepting team orders has become so much of the culture at that Mercedes team that even when he does it in Silverstone, his girlfriend's clapping along with everyone else in the garage.
Good boy. Good boy.
His girlfriend's in the garage going, yay, Valtteri got out of the way, yay.
Good boy Botas. Laying down, yeah.
Well, it's a new chapter now. You won't see any more of that probably.
Yeah. So we talk about how much Yuki loves to eat. Toto as well. We obviously have highlighted already his obsession with pumpernickel toast with his breakfast, his elaborate breakfast and coffee orders. Mm-hmm. And then I loved Ryan at the end of the episode when he's confirming to George Russell, welcome Mercedes and all that. And then he grabs him by the neck and goes, let's have dinner.
Yeah.
Right away. Let's go eat. And
you and I were joking, like George is all excited that he just got the official news and he's like, oh, Toto's going to take me out to dinner. And then Toto's like, okay, so what do you like to order from Denny's?
Yeah.
We're going to Denny's tonight.
Right. We're going to hit a drive-through and you're driving. And you're paying.
Yeah. Have you ever had Whataburger?
No. So, yeah, that was fun to see more of the behind the scenes, more of Toto being obsessed with food, more of George Russell and Valtteri Bottas. So I enjoyed that one for sure.
Yeah,
Braga, any other notes for you there on episode 8?
No, I just got a kick out of the team radio from Spa when George outqualified Hamilton and his race engineer got on and said, you've outqualified Mr. Hamilton.
Yeah. He was Sir Hamilton at that point. He should have addressed him properly.
Yeah, that's true.